All right, everyone, welcome back into another NFL props video. Going to be touching on the top prop bets here for this two-game slate on Sunday for the playoffs. Let's go ahead and get into it. So as always, I like to start off with a quick game preview of both games. And the thing that's interesting about both of these games is it's kind of the same format as the Saturday slate in terms of like, all right, we got one game that is a very high scoring game, and we got another game that's potentially going to be more of a low scoring game. And I could kind of see it playing out that way. Now, I actually think these two games are going to be much more predictable and much more easy to attack. And we actually are getting two good bets right now as I'm recording this video. I'll start with that once I get into the prop section. And so I do think it's going to be much more predictable there. And now that's not to say that the Saturday games weren't predictable. Like, kind of nailed the game script of the KC versus Houston game. Unfortunately, was on the wrong players there for that game script. Minus Travis Kelce, where, over 5.5 receptions on PrizePicks. That was kind of just a bet that we had to make. Underdog, though, not a good day. We'll see as I'm recording this video right now as an FYI. Jared Goff currently selling Jameson Williams over receptions, which I'd be kind of mad at myself because everyone else that I liked in that game, other than Brown, who we obviously bet on, is going off. And so a little bit tilting. Hopefully you guys were on the better side of who you ended up on Detroit Lions wise there. But I do want to kind of take a peek at this game. So I do think that this game here between the Eagles and the Rams could actually be one where we could attack at least the point spread here. So looking at it, guys, it's a 6.5 or so point spread on average. I could see the Rams covering this. I kind of view these two teams as equal. I don't know if you guys do. Now, the issue with Matthew Stafford is he is a little bit hot and cold. Like if Matthew Stafford just has a bad game, the Eagles could end up crushing here. But I could actually see the Eagles or the Rams win this game. Like the Eagles, to be fair, they didn't have to do much. Like the Green Bay Packers over the last month were just beating themselves, and that's exactly what they did last week. Even though the NFL has claimed that they got the fumble wrong and the tackle wrong on that first play, as a Packers fan, I'm tilted by that. Anyways, it's tough to really gauge anything honestly from that Eagles game, just because like they really just allowed the Packers to beat themselves, which is great. And they did what they needed to do. But I think the Rams have been a team that's been slept on a bunch. I mentioned I kind of thought that they were a dark horse last weekend, given the way that this Washington-Detroit game is going, where I'm watching it right now. Washington's up by 10. The Rams, or honestly the Eagles, are or could be making the playoffs, but the Rams could be in the Super Bowl, which would be an interesting thing. And for what it's worth, guys, a little bit too much fluff here to start. Apologies, but to me, this game right here, this Ravens versus Bills games, feels a lot like, and I tweeted this out, it feels a lot like the 2021 NBA playoffs, where that game or the series between the Bucks and the Nets, or that game 7, really felt like it was crowning the NBA championship at that point. Like, yeah, they had to go ahead and play 2 more games, but those two teams were clearly the best. That's kind of how I feel about that Ravens versus Buffalo Bills game there as well. So I don't know, maybe you guys could go out and place a Super Bowl bet on one of those two teams or both of them. And I think it's a good chance right now. Now, I do want to go ahead and start off with the 2 good prop bets that we are currently getting here for Saturday. And obviously, guys, a good prop bet is going to be a bet that's over 54% likelihood or better to hit. I started yesterday's video out with Matthew Stafford calling this one out to you guys because it's the best bet. It's surprisingly still there. It has not gotten bumped. And so a good bet is going to be a bet that has a 54% likelihood or better to hit. That's when we get that long-term advantage on PrizePicks and Underdog, which is great. But it's insane here. So, like, they're not budging here. They're not budging here at all. PrizePicks still has the line set at 15.5. Underdog still has the line set at 17.2. The Eagles are a good defense, okay? They could make Matthew Stafford struggle in this game, especially if they get after him. Now, Stafford could hit on a couple deep shots as well, but this low-key has a chance to be a middle, but I'd kind of see him struggling in this game. I think if the Rams are going to win this game or keep it close, like I do think they will, it'll be with Kyren Williams and just good defense there as well. Now, we are seeing an interesting bet here with Kenneth Walker for over 2.5 rush attempts. I don't hate that as well. That one has a 54% likelihood to hit right now as well. Now, I'm showing you guys Matthew Stafford's game log here on PrizePicks, but what you're going to see here is he's only gotten the over once, barely against Minnesota, and then against Buffalo, where 21 points, really good there, but he really hasn't gotten the over consistently. So to me, that's a strange line. The fact that Underdog has not bumped that down, that's strange. Oh, no. I'm watching the game as I'm recording this video, guys. Jameson Williams just threw a pick, which, gosh, give him a pass. Like, throw the football to him. What are you guys doing? Like, why are you making him? That's frustrating. I don't know what that one's going to hit. We'll see here, guys. That's tight. Anyways, yeah, so Kenneth Gainwell get over 2.5 rush attempts. We have seen he has consistently gotten this over here, okay, when we look at this game log. And it does depend a little bit on the game spread being correct. I think if this is a 6-point spread, then I do think that does increase the likelihood for Kenneth Gainwell to get that over. Now, regardless, that's the best bet. That will be the bet of the day, is those two bets there for underdog, just as an FYI. But we'll go ahead and break down the rest of the slate. So guys, I do want to start off here with Tyler Higbee. So Tyler Higbee was someone that I was actually very interested in, like potentially betting on in the opening round of the playoffs there. I kind of got a little bit weary on him just because we didn't know for sure whether or not he was going to play. Now, I kind of mentioned to me they wanted to get him up to game shape, and that's why he played in that last game against Seattle, and that was the case. So he ended up being the tight end number 1. They were fully good to go with him. He got a little bit banged up in that game. They are reporting that he is going to be good to go, though, in this game. And honestly, it felt like he was really the difference maker in that game. He really kind of set the tone there in that game. And because he was able to go and have a good start to the game, it kind of changed the whole dynamic of the game. So they are going to need him to have a good game. And while Puka Nacua and potentially Cooper Kupp are going to gain attention, that could leave Tyler Higbee getting a lot of work. Now, the issue that we have here is that he did not play a lot of snaps, only played in 24% of the snaps, did have a 38% route share. But it's important to call out that before he got injured, he was on 86% of the snaps. And so that's the tough part. Now, it's playoff football. If he can play, I think he will play. And if he does, I do think that this is a good spot for us to be betting the over. But it is difficult there because we're again, with him, we would want to be betting on the snaps being there. And that's the bet there. Now, the interesting thing with the Rams guys last week is that they did play a lot of 12 personnel. 51% of their snaps actually came out of 12 personnel. And I think that was by design. Well, obviously it was by design. And with that, we actually saw Cooper Kupp not play a lot of snaps in that game. He only played in 55% of the snaps. Now, he still did have a 69% route share, so he was on the snaps, but we saw him really struggle in that game. And now he has not gotten that many looks. The offense has kind of went away from him. They have done some strange things on offense. Honestly, over the past month, it's a little bit different than really what we saw throughout the whole season. Obviously, it's funneled through Puka Nacua, but we haven't seen Kyren Williams get as involved as well, which with that much 12 personnel, you would have thought that Kyren Williams would have got more rush attempts, especially in that game. So kind of a weird game there. They honestly ended up playing Demarcus Robinson more than I thought that they would. 73% of the snaps and 90% route share. And so if this is a game where they're going to be playing from behind, maybe Demarcus Robinson's who we're looking at, but we could be gaining an edge with Cooper Kupp and Robinson as well if it is a game indeed where Vegas is right and it is a 6.5 point spread where the Rams are playing from behind. We take a peek at the Demarcus Robinson line, guys. 1.5 receptions, nothing really there to me in terms of edge. 51%, nothing too crazy there. And then Cooper Kupp, again, really nothing too much here in terms of us like being able to go out of our way to target a clear edge there. So I could see mostly just passing up on them. And then we look at Puka Nacua. I don't mind the idea of him getting 7 receptions. Again, in a game where they could potentially be playing from behind, they are going to have to throw the football a little bit more, which then would mean that he should be able to get to over 7 receptions. But will he be able to get to 8? That's the biggest question. That's why I hate when they give us lines like that at 7. I think he has a great chance to be a push. It's at 52.6% likely to hit. I'm okay getting there, but I don't think we need to go crazy. And now, guys, well, everybody is going to be maybe getting to A.J. Brown with the whole book narrative. And honestly, guys, I think that's why I like the Rams. Is that book thing was just weird with A.J. Brown. I don't know. Whatever. We won't get into that. We know that the Rams, their kind of weakness is with tight ends. That's why T.J. Hawkinson was the player I was going on my way to bet last week. I was like the one player throughout the whole week I was telling you guys to bet on. Same thing with Brown as well here, where his odds kind of dropped eventually on Saturday. But at the start of the week, I was like, Brown, we're getting decent. But Dallas Goedert, he obviously had a really good game there against the Packers. And he has been consistently getting this over here as well. And so you get him in a matchup where a team does directly struggle against tight ends. I like that. We look at that last game against the Rams, 4 receptions in that game. So to me, that's pretty awesome. Now, we would expect Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown to get more involved, but we're really not getting good bets for them. Now, guys, let's go ahead and jump on into that next game. We got Baltimore versus Buffalo. So to me, naturally speaking, I do think we want to be targeting a lot of the overs in this game, just because it should be a game that does end up being a high-scoring game. Now, we are seeing some slight prop line differences for someone like Khalil Shakir here between PrizePicks and Underdog. Worth calling out to you guys if you see an edge there. Obviously, Underdog, with their line being the highest of the bunch, we are seeing that the under is probably the way to go. I'd love me some Khalil Shakir. If the game's close, I don't know. If it's a high-scoring game, I don't think I want to be in any under bets, but worth calling that out as a prop line difference there. And now we look at kind of the Buffalo Bills passing game. Isaiah Likely, we are seeing with his over receiving yards. I haven't seen anything definitive on Zay Flowers' status right now. And as we saw last week, guys, like Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely are really going to be then the top top 2 pass catchers in this offense. So I do think that's a good edge to get on potentially there with Isaiah Likely. And we are going to see on underdog, that is still going to be the better bet to roll with there. So did want to call that out to you guys. If that's a spot that you want to get to, definitely happy to get there more so on underdog where we are getting that prop line difference. But again, the issue here, guys, we're not getting that many edges. Now, I did mention I do like Khalil Shakir. Let's take a deeper dive at him. Like for his lines on underdog, I kind of am okay. Like they're all kind of correct. If I were to choose a bet, it would be this over first quarter receiving yards. He has been involved pretty early in the game plan. And like, it just makes sense like for that to continue. I don't see why that would go away randomly. I don't like doing the first quarter bets because you are potentially taking away a possession away. Like obviously if they don't win the coin flip or don't get the ball to receive at the start of the game is really what it is, then that's going to reduce the likelihood for that bet to hit. So that's kind of the struggle there with that. And yeah, so Khalil Shakir, guys, on PrizePicks, I don't mind the idea of getting to 5 receptions, but again, that does feel like we're kind of pushing it. He is the player I want to be on most there for them. And then we'll look at kind of Mark Andrews. I was a little bit shocked at kind of the lack of a big game that he had in terms of receptions last week, but we know that he ended up having a pretty decent game overall. They just didn't need him to have a heavy reception game in that game against Pittsburgh. This should be more of a pass-heavy script, and we might actually be getting a decent edge with him, given the fact that, well, they just didn't really need him to go off, and his lines are still a little bit lower because of last week. And then, yeah, Isaiah Likely, guys, again, on underdog, a little bit of a better bet there if you guys want to bet on his over receiving yards, and that'd be a bet on this game being high scoring there. Now, in a weird way, guys, I don't really want to make bets in this game specifically, because again, I kind of, in a weird way, I think this is the Super Bowl, you know? And so, I mean, I like the Chiefs, whatever. I know a lot of people are mad at them and whatnot, but I kind of just want to watch this game as a fan, if that makes sense. And we already have our 2 good bets on the day. So with that, guys, let's go ahead and get into the bet of the day. All right, guys, so like I mentioned, kind of a simple day today where we are getting 2 good bets, so that is simply going to be the bet of the day. No need to force bets to try to get more action in on some other bets or you know, kind of make a game script-based bet slip. We got 2 good bets, let's just roll with those. And if they don't hit, it's kind of like shrug our shoulders, kind of, oh, well, we know we're making the correct decisions here. And to me, guys, these 2 bets do correlate. Again, if Matthew Stafford is struggling, that increases the likelihood for the Eagles to win. If Vegas is more correct with that 6-point or 6.5 point spread, that does increase the likelihood for Kenneth Gainwell to get over 2.5 rush attempts. Now, again, it is worth calling out. PrizePicks line is at 15.5. If you think this has a chance to be a little bit more of a high score game, you'd want to bet the over there on Matthew Stafford as well. Overall, it does seem like we're getting better edges on underdog as well. Just as an FYI, that could change tomorrow. Maybe we get some more bets and like some more fantasy score lines in there. But for now, simple, easy day. And so that's going to do it here for this video, guys. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help out a lot. Appreciate you guys being here. If you guys want access to any of the tools, make sure to head on over to 9to5sports.com. Get access to all the tools on the website for just $10 a month. Thanks for watching, guys. Good luck. And as always, let's keep cashing.